There's a moment around 45 years old, sometimes earlier, when you look around and you realize the game that you've been playing doesn't feel like you're winning it anymore. You've checked the boxes, you've climbed the ladder, you've provided for your family, and yet there's this quiet voice that's asking, is this it? I don't really call that having a midlife crisis. You're having a midlife awakening. And that awakening reveals how much energy you've been pouring into things that aren't actually building the life that you want. Here are 7 things that are quietly draining high-performing men after the age of 40, and what most fulfilled men that I work with focus on instead. Number 1, playing by rules you never actually agreed to. For more than 2 decades, you followed the playbook. Work hard, climb higher, earn more, provide better, and all of that worked right up until it didn't. You wake up one day realizing you're living someone else's definition of success. Maybe you're the VP who dreads Monday mornings, or the entrepreneur who built something that looks impressive from the outside but really is soul-crushing. You've been so busy chasing successful that you forgot to ask if this success actually serves you. This happened for me when in the span of 26 months, I got divorced and suddenly lost my job at 52 years old in a market that was not hiring seasoned professionals. I'd been so busy doing the work, I wasn't investing in expanding and nurturing my networks. I found myself feeling like I was starting life all over at a point when I thought all of it would be solved. The men who thrive after 40 understand this. The rules that got you here won't get you where you want to go. So where can you focus instead? Design your own scorecard. Success after 40 isn't about impressing others, it's about alignment. Ask yourself, if no one was watching, what would winning look like? That becomes your new North Star. Number 2 is staying in your comfort zone because you have too much to lose. This is the golden handcuffs trap. You've built a life that looks stable from the outside, but inside you really know that you're just coasting. You want to make a change, start that business, switch careers, pursue that passion, but the voice in your head keeps telling you you can't risk it now. You have too many responsibilities. And so you stay. And every year that passes, the gap between who you are and who you want to be gets wider. You're like a Formula One driver stuck in traffic. All that power and capability, but crawling along at 25 miles an hour because that's what everyone else expects. Here's what I've learned working from executives who have made successful transitions. The biggest risk isn't failure. The bigger risk is spending the next 20 years wondering what if. What can you focus on instead? Calculate the real costs of staying put. Not just the financial risk of change, but the psychological risk of remaining stuck. Then start taking calculated steps towards what energizes you, even if it's just 10% of your time to start. Number 3, trying to be everything to everyone. You're the reliable one. You're the problem solver, Mr. Provider. You're the guy that everyone calls when they need something done right. And while being dependable served you well in your 20s and 30s, it became a trap after 40. You say yes to projects that don't excite you, commitments that drain you, and requests that pull you away from what matters the most. You've become so good at being needed that you've forgotten how to need things for yourself. I know this all too well as a recovering people pleaser. I would frequently sacrifice my needs, my time, and on the rare occasion my values for the comfort and convenience of others. And here was the lie that I told myself. This will make them happy or fulfilled, and I will get satisfaction from that. The reality was, though, I was teaching them and myself that I was always going to be there for them, even if that meant that nobody was there for me. In some situations, like for my parents, my son, my closest friends, that wasn't a sacrifice. That was how I showed love. But when it became an unbreakable pattern and it wasn't reciprocated by others, it became a source of constant frustration and discomfort. Most effective men I know after 40 have learned this skill, strategically saying no. What can you focus on instead? Well, you can protect your energy like it's the finite resource that it is. Every yes to something mediocre is a no to something extraordinary. Start asking, does this align with where I want to be in 5 years? If not, pass. Number 4, avoiding deep conversations about what you actually want. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Most men get really good at talking about logistics, work projects, kid schedules, weekend plans, and terrible about talking about what's actually going on inside. You might have friends that you've known for decades, but when was the last time you had a conversation that went deeper than fantasy stats and work stress? When did you last talk about your dreams, your fears, what you're actually building towards? It's like being a quarterback running the 2-minute drill. You see the whole field, you know exactly what needs to happen, but when you try to communicate the deeper strategy, your teammates are still thinking about grabbing beers after the game instead of on the bigger picture that you're orchestrating. This isolation is killing your potential because growth happens in relationships. The breakthrough ideas, the clarity, the courage, they come from being witnessed and challenged by other men who get it. What can you focus on instead? Finding your tribe, connecting with men who are asking the same questions you are, discovering places where you can be vulnerable first. The relief you'll feel when you realize you're not the only one questioning everything will surprise you. Number 5, measuring progress by external metrics only. You've spent 20 years tracking salary increases, promotion timelines, net worth growth, and all of those things are very important. But after 40, if that's your only measure of progress, you'll start to feel like you're standing still even when you're moving forward. Real growth after 40 for men is often internal and invisible. You're becoming more patient, more discerning, more authentic. You're learning to say what you mean, to set boundaries, which has always been a struggle for me, and to choose quality over quantity. So what can you focus on instead? Track your evolution, not just your accumulation. Are you more at peace than you were last year? More aligned with your values? More connected to what matters? These are the metrics that can actually predict satisfaction after 40. Number 6, believing your best years are behind you. Society starts to tell you that 40 is over the hill, that your prime is in your past, that now you should start to gracefully step aside and transition and let younger people take the lead. That narrative is not just wrong, it's toxic. You're not past your peak, you're approaching it. You have expertise and experience without cynicism, wisdom without rigidity, resources without desperation. You know who you are in a way your 25-year-old self could never imagine. Think about when you were 10 and you'd build something, a treehouse, a go-kart, an entire city with Legos. You didn't start by calculating what could go wrong or whether you had enough materials. You started with, what if I could? And figured out how along the way. That builder is still in there, waiting for permission to dream big again. The men who thrive after 40 reject this declining narrative completely. So what can you focus on instead? Embrace your compound advantages. You have skills, relationships, and insights that took decades to develop. Your next chapter isn't about managing decline. It's about strategic acceleration and visibility. Number 7, going it alone because you think you should have it all figured out by now. This could be the most dangerous trap of them all. You're successful, accomplished, respected. People come to you for advice and counsel. So when you're struggling with direction, purpose, or fulfillment, you feel like you should be able to figure it out by yourself. You don't ask for help because you think it would make you look weak or incompetent. So you stay stuck, cycling through the same thoughts, making the same decisions, and getting the same results. Even executives need coaches. Even pilots need air traffic control to navigate their journey and land in the right place safely. Here's what I've learned from 25 years of developing corporate and executive leaders. The most successful people don't have fewer problems. They have better systems and frameworks for solving them. They invest in guides, mentors, and frameworks not because they're weak, but because they're smart. So what can you focus on instead? Get intentional about your growth, whether it's coaching, mastermind groups, or structured programs. Invest in some level of support that matches the level of life that you want to build. You wouldn't want to try to climb Mount Everest without a guide, so why try to navigate your most important transitions alone? Look, I get it. These shifts aren't easy. For more than 20 years, you've been conditioned to measure success one way, to play by certain rules, to prioritize external validation over internal alignment. But here's what I know from working with hundreds of high-performing men. Your 40s and your 50s aren't about managing decline. They're about strategic design. You have much more control over your next 40 years than you did over your first 40. You're not too late. You're definitely not alone. The question isn't whether you can create the life you actually want. It's whether you're ready to stop accepting the life that you settled for. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments. And if you're ready to connect with other men who are asking these same questions, subscribe to this channel. I promise you there's a lot more to come. Your best chapter isn't behind you. It's waiting for you to write it.